I thought it was a harmless secret until it became the truth everyone could see.
I thought it was harmless fun, the kind of secret that makes you feel powerful because only you know it. But I didn't understand how quickly a private joke can turn into a public truth. That night I walked into dinner feeling confident, smiling a little too much, just enjoying the thrill of carrying something hidden while pretending everything was perfectly normal. We sat down with our friends, the wine was flowing, laughter was bouncing easily across the table. In that moment, I convinced myself that getting attention was the same thing as having a real connection. I loved the way people looked at me. I loved the way I felt admired. And I completely ignored the quiet tension sitting right beside me. What I didn't realize was that secrets change you. They change your posture, your tone of voice, even your arrogance, and the person who knows you best notices it all immediately. I kept deliberately crossing my legs, leaning forward a little too often, enjoying this silent game I thought only I was playing. Across the table, the conversation started to slow down, glances lingered, and I mistook curiosity for approval. I felt so clever, so in control, convinced that my confidence meant I was dominant and that no one would ever dare to call me out. I forgot that intimacy without respect turns into humiliation the moment light touches it. Then the conversation shifted and a silence fell over the table. Suddenly, my heartbeat felt louder than the clinking of glasses. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't lose his composure, which somehow made what came next so much worse. He spoke calmly, clearly, and directly. He named the very thing I thought was invisible, without adding any cruelty or insult. The room just froze. You see, truth has a certain weight, and when it lands unexpectedly, no one knows where to look. My face burned, not just because I was exposed, but because I suddenly realized how transparent my intentions had been all along. I tried to laugh it off, to frame it as some kind of misunderstanding. But excuses collapse so quickly when your confidence evaporates. In that single moment, I finally understood that attention gained through disrespect always comes at a cost. The silence that followed wasn't judgment from the others, it was understanding. And that distinction hurt the most. I felt smaller than I ever had, not because I was shamed, but because I was seen so clearly for who I was in that moment. We left the table without drama, without any shouting, just carrying a truth that couldn't be put back where it came from. The ride home was quiet, heavy with realization instead of anger. I wanted to defend myself, to explain my need for excitement, but every single explanation sounded hollow, even in my own head. What I had called confidence was really just insecurity dressed up as boldness. What I had called fun was really a test I never asked permission to give. That night forced me to confront something uncomfortable about myself, something I had avoided for a very long time. I had mistaken being desired for being valued, and I had used someone else's trust as my personal stage. There was no revenge in what happened, only consequence. Being exposed didn't destroy me, but it stripped away all the illusions I depended on. I learned that true intimacy thrives on safety, not on spectacle. I learned that respect, once it's fractured publicly, can't be stitched back together quietly later on. And most of all, I learned that secrets meant to provoke are never truly private. They're just waiting for the right moment to come to the surface. That dinner didn't end my life, but it ended a version of me I could no longer justify. And that realization, that hard lesson, stayed with me long after the table was cleared and the night moved on. It changed how I see myself, how I see relationships, and what it truly means to be confident. It's a story about a mistake, yes, but it's also a story about waking up. Thanks for listening. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories like this.